Buenos dias. Happy Saturday. Endurance isn't just for marathons. It's for parenting, it's for work, and spiritual growth. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." With that said, my name is June. This is Saturday Pour, Episode 2, Endurance in the Everyday. Let's get it, man. It's a gorgeous day. Chicago is cold, and before we get started, cheers. We have El Coqui coffee straight from the island of Puerto Rico, and my taza de café that says Funko, like a dad, only cooler. So shout out to my nieces. Oh, forgot to take a sip. I think this is my second or third cup of coffee. So once again, good morning and welcome to the Saturday Pour. This is where we take 5 minutes and just reflect on our journey in running, faith, and family. So if you didn't tune in last week, we covered small steps in our journey, and today we will transition and speak on endurance. And again, this is endurance not just in running, but in everyday life. And as we say at Run 6 Co, endure with purpose. And endurance isn't flashy. It's sometimes not exciting. But it is these small choices that we choose to take on or do. And that is to keep showing up, right? Whether that's in, example, choosing patience with our children, finishing a work task, regardless of how hideous it can be, or tedious, I think it's the word I'm searching for, or sticking with daily habits or daily routines. Me back to mile 23 of the Chicago Marathon, where everything in my body, mind, and soul was just hurting. And I had to make a decision, right? Either I push through these last 3+ miles and finish, or call it quits here. And that is how I feel, or how I felt in certain times of my life. Can I, or should I call it quits here? Or really, can I push and dig deep and finish what is ahead of me? And I did finish the race, and what kept me going was not only the work that I had put in over the last months, but really what was waiting for me at the finish line. And that was the thought of my daughter, my wife, my friends, family, and really is, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And some of you may have issues with that, but it keeps it simple. So therefore, since we are surrounded by such great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Again, life's race is marked out for us. So what does endurance mean in this, right? That means trusting God even in times when we feel tired, exhausted, or when we even lack faith. In running, right, that means enduring in pacing, not quitting mid-race, which is a decision I had to do myself, and staying focused on the finish line. And that pertains to life itself, right? The finish line. What is that finish line? And that finish line can be a lot of things, right? So for me is providing for my family and providing for my daughter. And what does that finish line look like, right? And that changes from time to time as we keep moving in life. Now, in faith, Right? Endurance means that daily obedience, even when we don't feel motivated. And that may mean to get rid or throw away, for just even if it's a moment, social media, stopping those comparisons with you and someone else, or even the busyness that we take on or that we have in life, and run with the perseverance by making space for prayer, daily reading of scripture, and fellowship. And fellowship means to be surrounded by those that share, right, the same beliefs or thoughts, which is why a church community is very, very important, right? And this, you can start small, right? Even if it's 10-15 minutes of daily prayer, 10-15 minutes of reading scripture, reading the word, even when you don't feel like it. And this is where we see faith growing in consistency, right? And not convenience, right? Oh, I feel like doing this today because of that. But really is, putting in place those practices even when we don't feel like it. And the same goes in applying that into marriage and fatherhood. Marriage is not easy. It's not. And endurance in marriage, right? What that looks like can be, loving daily, even when emotions run low, even in the busyness of life, taking the time to be with your partner. Throw off pride, throw off selfishness, and put into practice the patience, the forgiveness, and sacrifice that are a part of marriage and a part of the marriage race. Same goes for fatherhood, right? What does endurance look there or mean there, right? That means showing up again and again, even when work is exhausting, even when patience is running thin, even when you are exhausted. It's being there. So your kids, or my kid, right, needs my presence more than anything else I could offer, right? They don't care if I'm perfect, or what has taken place in my life during the day. It's about being there at the moment. And the way that I look at it is, and this has changed my perspective on life, is I will never get this moment back ever again. Today will finish and we move on. However, right, those emotions, those memories will remain. So take a pause and ensure that I am intentionally there with my daughter. And some of those ways that I put into practice, right, is even in conversation, putting away any device, any distractions, and solely focusing on what is happening then and there, and finding ways to connect daily. As my daughter gets older, right, she's spending less time away from me and more time with friends, but creating conversations or being intentional of doing activities, playing, talking, listening, and being there in the activities that she does love doing. So whether that's a bike ride, dancing, whatever, I'm there. And I'm running shorter on time today, but the same applications go for work. Endurance at work is about integrity and diligence when no one is watching, and continuing to give your best, even in mundane or stressful tasks. So I want my brand to speak for itself. I want when someone to look at me or think about me and say, or let my work speak for itself. That's a better way to put it. And with that said, I'll summarize with this, right? Hebrews 12:1 gives us a picture of laying down our burdens and running with focus in faith, in marriage, fatherhood, and work. The common thread is showing up consistently and trusting God with the long race. That's good. Here is my challenge, right? If you're struggling in anything here, as I do or I did, right? Because I'm not perfect. I'm learning as I go. But identify one area this week where you need endurance, right? Do you need endurance in your faith? Do you need endurance in your marriage? And being a father, at work, right? Celebrate the small wins. You don't need to finish a marathon today. You just need to take on the next steps, right? I don't celebrate the marathon before I can complete it, but I sure celebrate the journey up to and within. And I also like to celebrate the small wins, just to ensure I don't miss out. Because if I only celebrate, let's say finish a marathon, if I only celebrate then that moment, I truly miss on learning throughout that journey. So hopefully that made sense. With that said, though, I do appreciate you tuning in. Please, if you like, comment, subscribe, share it. And as always, closing thought. Whatever race you're in, keep running with perseverance. My name is June, Run 6 Co, Saturday Pour. See you next Saturday. Salud.